I look back at 19 years of just how I did it and the struggles. You don't know what you don't know, I guess. And I just thought that's the way it was. This is the way contracting is. And I have a 19-year-old, and to be honest with you, he's been alive for the whole life of the business. He doesn't remember it in the beginning, but he sees what I went through the first 16 years, and he doesn't want to be part of it. We've grown every year in sales, but last year wasn't as good with the profit because we were digging out of a hole a bit from the past. We were about 2.4 in sales million, and this year we're a little bit below that, but our profits are way high, and which is awesome because the guys aren't so stressed out, running them ragged. They're able to get home for dinner. We use software programs, but I like to see it. I like to be able to look over my monitor, look behind me over my shoulder, and just take a look at it at a quick glance.
What is it?
Progress to profit board right there. So it's got all the active jobs on it, what stage they're at, deposits.
All right, rockstars, welcome to another No Bullshit podcast for contractors. I'm Andrew Houston here at Profit for Contractors, and we are going to rock the house with Adam Clarke, who's made some significant progress along the way, able to have freedom now, be able to have an amazing growth of his company, and he's going to show us a showroom and things of that nature. But Adam, welcome, dude. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's an honor to have you here. You and your team have done a hell of a lot of heavy lifting since you started with Profit for Contractors. So let's get right into this, okay? Like, I talk about this being the No Bullshit podcast because that's exactly what it's about, is no bullshit. And let's not bullshit anybody right now. Let's talk about some of the challenges that you had before you came to PFC. What did that world look like, dude?
Well, it was 6-7 days a week. Usually wouldn't make it home for dinner. I have a 6-year-old kid. Luckily, I turned it around to get to spend time with him and my wife the last couple of years. They've been really good. About 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago now, we were just struggling every day. Struggles like just not being able to make ends meet. The cash flow was, the roller coaster ride. And, my wife works in the office. She's been doing the office stuff for about 4 years now. She pays all the bills, accounts receivable, payable. She does all that. She rocks it. So, without her, without my entire team, this is not a one-man show. It's a team effort. And if I give advice to anybody, it's just, if you don't know it, or it's not your strong suit, get people in position to make that happen. Because I didn't get into this because I love sitting in front of computers, or I love paperwork. I mean, I want to be out in the field swinging hammers and, hanging out with the guys. You got to get people in the positions that, their strong suits. So that's what I have done the last 2 years. And, I joined you guys back in 2021. Yeah, 2021. I mean, it's been great.
Awesome. So let's just go back, let's stay back in the, bed of the reality in the beginning. So just recap. So you're working nonstop, 6-7 days a week. Stress, was definitely, I'm sure, there. Anxiety, just couldn't get enough hours in the day. That also caused sacrifice on the family front with your young son and your wife. So if you look back then, okay, and how many people did you have back then?
There was about 4 of us.
Right. Okay. So you look back then, what were some of the biggest things you look at? We'll talk about the reality here in more depth, like as far as the results that you've gotten from that side of it. But going back in time, what were some of the biggest things that you kept on just trying to figure out and you couldn't?
Why am I working so hard and getting paid so little? And I was almost like, I guess it's like a pride thing where it's like, my dad's a contractor. He was a contractor since the early 70s, and he still lays bricks. And he's 73. But anyways, it was always pride thing where you're working hard, and, and don't get me wrong, I love hard work, but, it takes its toll, not only on your body, your mental state, your family. You're robbing time from them, and, that had to change. what really flipped the switch is we hit rock bottom as far as relationship with my wife. And, we were crying one night, and it was just like, okay, we're going to sink this thing, we're going to end it, or we're going to fix it. And that's when I found you guys, and I joined up and started going through the motions, and little chunks at a time.
That's it, little chunks at a time. That's pretty heavy, man. Like, by the way, thank you for taking the mask off and sharing this. Okay, so like sitting down with your wife, both of you is in tears. Like nobody, like seriously, who the fuck wants to sign up to that? Right? Like, no, I'm serious, right? I get pissed off sometimes. I'm not going to go deep into this, but I get pissed off sometimes when I hear people go, man, I don't get why that guy does this or does that, or, whatever. This owner's putting in all these hours, and people sort of bash these owners that are doing that. And I'm like, hold it. They don't wake up going, oh man, I can't wait to I put in 80 hours last week. Oh, I cannot wait to put in 90. Oh my God, I put in 90. Can't wait to put in 100. No, man. We don't wake up and go, I don't want to spend time with my kid. We don't wake up and go, I want to hit rock bottom with my wife and I. Like, you don't do that, okay? So that's why that question I asked you was, what was it you're trying to solve that you just couldn't? And the reason I asked that question is because there's so many people listening in on this, and you'd been in business for how long before you hit that break?
Just about 19 years.
Right, so there you go, 19 years, right? Like,
it kind of blows my mind. Like, I think about, it's you're constantly learning every day, right?
Sure.
Now I look at it, this last couple of years, I look back at, 19 years of just how I did it and the struggles. And I wish you don't know what you don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's the way it was. This is the way contracting is.
Yep.
And I have a 19-year-old, and to be honest with you, he's been alive for the whole life of the business. He doesn't remember it in the beginning, but he sees what I went through the first 16 years, and he doesn't want to be part of it, which is kind of a bummer because he's got skills, and you know what I mean. He'd be great for the company. He's off doing his thing, and I'm proud of him.
That's good, dude. I hear that a lot. I think, not trying to, pitch anything to your son, just to say that if you haven't done it already, something to just consider is to take the time if the person's willing. I've seen this happen with lots of other champion CEO, husband and wife teams that come here, and the kids are like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Is to take time to walk through where the business was and where it is now.
Yeah.
And the differences. And when you're explaining it, take the time to reinforce why this isn't temporary, why this is here, whether you're there or not, while this is still working well, whether you're there or not, because you got to build trust in them, right? Like they're not trusting. That's it, and they have every right not to trust, because I'm sure there's many times where you promised to be at certain places or whatever with your kids, and you just weren't there for them because you couldn't be because of the business, right?
Oh yeah. I would rarely make it home for dinner. Sporting events,
Yep.
Totally. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the realities as far as the results right now, and then what we're going to do. Everybody listening in is we're going to give you guys some tips and strategies for what works for Adam, what worked for his company, for him and his wife, and what moved things forward. So let's just leapfrog ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So you put in the 19 years, you come to the Profit Contractors, you're here for a couple of years. And what's that look like now?
It's fantastic. We're running about a 15% net profit right now. Last year we've grown every year in sales, but last year wasn't as good with the profit because we were digging out of a hole a bit.
Yeah.
From the past.
Yeah.
We're about 2.4 in sales.
Right.
Million, and this year we're a little bit below that, but our profits are way higher, and which is awesome because the guys aren't so stressed out.
Yeah.
I'm not running them ragged. They're able to get home for dinner. They're enjoying their family time, and I'm able, and that's one of my goals is to give back to the guys a little bit more.
Right.
We do good benefits, and I try to be competitive with the wages and all that stuff. But I'm going to set up some more incentives as far as bonuses and stuff. It's it's for the guys, and I want to give back to them, because without them,
I love it. So you're out traveling, you got a trailer. What's the hours look like per week? Like, what's this look like? Are you able to take time to do things and spend some time with the family? What's that look like versus the 100 hours a week?
Yeah, no, I still, I love what I do. I love the guys. I love the community. I love even the office staff. But I'm, usually out at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock every day, work roughly 8 hours a day. This summer, we've been taking Fridays because we bought an RV. I've been taking my son and wife. We've been going camping, and
it's great.
It's
fun. Has the business become fun again?
Yes. Yep. It's kind of like when I first started, when it was just like, it was just me and a truck and some tools in the back, and it's similar now, because I get to pick and choose the jobs when I get to put on the tool belt and go visit the sites and get the guys fired up when I put the tool belt on and go bang nails with them for a day. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about that just the other day, you and I, briefly, and I want to emphasize this to everybody. I'm still a tradie in the sense that I love doing projects. You guys sometimes see me out, I don't know if you see me on social media and stuff like that, driving my tractor out with my son and my daughter and doing projects and shit. I don't think that'll ever go away, because it's just in me. It's bred in me. It's just part of who I am, is my identity. So I want to be clear with something, guys. Being a champion CEO, and what's a champion CEO? A champion CEO is what we strive towards. When, Adam came here, the Prof for Contractors, he came, no offense, but really as a contractor. He didn't show up as an owner, in the sense of the skill set, having the right things in place in his business. And I want to be clear that being a champion CEO, what that means is the champion CEO of your life. And that means having the control you want, do the things you want to do. I'll come back to that in a second. Okay. Being able to, have the time to do the things that you want to do for whatever period of time you want to, okay, in the way that you want to. And the last one is like building that wealth, like being able to do it the way you want to do it, to go buy that trailer, to go and have fun and actually get your profits to pay for your freedom. And why am I talking about that? Well, I'm talking about that because Adam says to me the other day, he goes, I love going out and putting the tool belt on. I love going out with the guys and cherry picking the job that I'm going to go out and help the guys out with, because I love being out in the field. You see, a lot of people will say, Andrew, but I thought your mission here is to get people off the tool belt and have the business run without them. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But if Adam has the business running without him, and if one of the things that he wants to do as a champion CEO is strap the fucking pouch on now that things are running without him, what's wrong with that? That comes back to having control and choices. Adam, what do you say to that?
I mean, I'm way happier when I get to work with the guys out in the field. The business, the office staff crushes it. It runs. We got the great systems, thanks to you guys. So it runs without me being here. Not to say I don't, things come up and I take care of them. But it's, I love putting the tool belt on. It makes me happy, and I go out there with the guys, and my wife could tell you when she sees me at the end of the day, if where I was working, if I was out in the field,
right,
I'm usually a happier person,
right? But it's not at the cost or sacrifice of the business. Okay, so guys, you still might not get it, so I'm just going to spend one more minute just making sure I explain as best as possible. Being on the tools, when somebody comes to Prof for Contractors and they're still on the tools, being on the tools doesn't mean you're actually slugging. It could be you're a project manager, you're acting as the lead hand, you're managing the jobs, but you're out there. In other words, the work requires you. Okay. That's very different than the work not requiring you. And the business is profitable. You got the right systems in place. You got the right people in place, such that if one of the things that is playing in the sandbox for you is going out and, hammering nails and doing whatever it is that you want to do, that's completely okay. Completely okay. But if you're having to be on the tools right now, meeting that definition that I'm talking about, because you have to, then there's something wrong. What do I mean by that, Adam?
Oh, I mean, that's the way it was for the first, 16 years or so or more. I was it. If I wasn't out there, putting stuff together, building stuff, stuff wasn't happening. The money wasn't coming in.
Right.
Projects weren't getting completed. And right now, it's like I told you the other day, we could take off for a month. I mean, not to say I wouldn't have my computer on and, be checking in with the guys and all that stuff. But I mean, it's running.
Yeah, I love it.
Not to say we don't have challenges because
for sure. It's not dependent upon you and the pouch, so to say, right?
Right. I don't need to be out there.
Right. You're doing it because it's a choice and because it's actually fun for you. Okay. So guys, this is what being a champion CO is. Okay. Seriously. Okay. I'm out with a fucking chainsaw, chopping down trees on this, farm that we've got, property. I'm out with my tractor. I'm out doing things, building the decks, doing stuff like that. Could I go hire people to do it? Yes. But I do it because I can do it, not because I have to do it. Okay. So being a champion CO, if one of the things is that you love being on the tools and you're listening going, oh my God, that means I have to get off the tools for the rest of my life. No, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that. It's a choice. Okay. So let's talk about some of the things. I want to make sure we get a little tour of your place. Actually, are you able to do a little tour and then just like, will it take you long to give us a little walkthrough?
No, I'd give you a walkthrough. So we started about 6 months ago. We opened up a design studio where we sell cabinets, countertops, hardware, all that stuff. And so, yeah, I'll give you a little quick tour.
And right behind you, we talk about systems, guys, okay? People think I'm bullshitting when I say, no, man, it's amazing. Make the system work for you. That could be a whiteboard. That could be a spreadsheet. But you got to have systems that work for you and work for your team. That's not a system behind you, is it?
Yeah, of course. It's not only on the board. Honestly, the guys like it too in the office, but we use software programs. But I like to see it. I like to be able to look over my monitor, look behind me over my shoulder and just take a look at it at a quick glance.
What is it?
Progress to profit board right there. Dude. So it's got all the active jobs on it and, what stage they're at, deposits, all that stuff is right there at a quick glance.
Guys, listen in on this, okay? So this is the tactics. This is the shit that works, okay? So start giving us a tour of this beautiful place you got.
So this is the desk here.
Nice. Love it.
We got the coffee.
Oh, man, look at these screens. Sweet.
Yeah, the big old monitors. And then I got the mission statement right there.
Yeah, how important is that mission statement?
Every day when I walk in here, I look at it. It's...
What's it say on it, Adam?
Mission of the Clarke team is to turn your building and remodeling dreams into reality while exceeding your expectations. We do this through continuing education, communication with quality products, and craftsmanship.
Before you had that, what were some of the things that were showing up that you didn't like before you had that?
Well, like I tell all the guys, we're mainly we do some new home builds, but we're mainly a remodeling contractor.
Yeah.
So, like I tell all the guys, we go when we're in somebody's house, we're part of their family, and you need to treat it like it's your house, and leave the job site, the house, turn it back at the end of the day, turn it back into a home, and leave it better than when we found it. So that's what we try to do. But 19 years later, here I am. You know what I mean? It's taken some time. So
great. There you go. You got the showroom. Clients can come in and share, pick whatever they want. Right. We're doing this. Love it. Oh, man. Yep. So then those 19 years as you're walking up these stairs, okay, was there quite a period of time where you weren't making any profit or losing profit?
Oh, yeah, for a long time. I didn't even know. I was paying the bills, but that's about it. And, growing up, having a father in the business, he was a mason contractor and knowing friends and stuff that were contractors as well. It was always taught to me, like, at the end of the year, you want to make sure you're at zero, so you don't pay any taxes. You want, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, like, man, that just seems weird. weird way to run a business. I want to be profitable. I want to, you know what I mean? So it's been a long time.
And now your profitability is what?
We're running about 15% net profit.
Well, I'm just saying, like, now you're making like hundreds of thousands of dollars in profitability, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, just listen in. You think about it, did you have to move locations? And when I say that, like, geographically, just be clear. Like, I want to be really clear. People are like, oh, that's because he probably moved to a different state, and then he did this and he did that, and he shut this down. No. Are you still like that 19-year business that wasn't making any money, and now you're profitable now? Are we talking like the same geographic area?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've always been in Westfield, Massachusetts. The one thing we did is we raised our prices, obviously, but we're delivering a better quality, and we're able to spend more time on the projects to deliver that quality because we're charging more.
Right.
Makes all the difference in the world. And, like I'll talk to any contractors locally or wherever, because I feel like everybody needs to jump in on this. And, the rising tide raises all the boats. You know what I mean? It's like that old saying. I think it's okay. I mean, it's good to have quality competition. It makes everybody, makes everyone better.
It's really interesting when people first come to Profit for Contractors. Okay, they're so focused in, and I'm not saying that you don't have to have some focus on this, but they're so focused in on the negativity of competition, the negativity of like, the market, the negativity. It's like, whoa, just like guys. You look at somebody's area, okay, and look, there's the odd one, right? There's the anomalies, okay, but for the most part, there's enough business out there, okay, for competitors, okay, and if the competitors can all improve their business, if they can go through this process, okay, and they can realize that they're pricing themselves out of business and pricing everybody out of business, and start actually moving towards being a champion CEO and knowing their numbers and knowing how to price, knowing how to back cost. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of stuff that, you had to go through in the contractor's blueprint. Okay. It makes it better for everybody.
Oh yeah. Yep. 100%. It's like having a bunch of restaurants all in the, couple square blocks of each other. You know what I mean? Well, that one's busy. We'll go to this one. And you know what I mean? They all feed off each other.
Totally.
It's
totally. Yep.
I
call it co-opetition.
Right. As long as, right. Well, right. As long as they're all, when we're estimating these jobs or whatever, as long as the quality's there and then
absolutely,
Yep.
Totally.
You don't want to compete with the guy who's running out of the back of his truck with no insurance. You know what I mean?
Well, that just kills everybody.
Right.
Totally, man. Totally. So you got a view there? Show us a little view there you got.
Oh yeah, this is the loft space.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Look at that. You should be so proud of that, bro.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love coming here. I love being here. We close at 3:00, but nope, we're closed right now, so it's nice and quiet in here.
Dude, like seriously, meanwhile you're working like 100-hour freaking work weeks. How many people you got working for you now again?
There's 11.
More than doubling your profits, same thing with your sales, same thing with your team. You've got this business running more and more without you. What would you say, are some of the biggest things that impacted the business? I mean, I have my own suspicions of what they were. What were some of the biggest things? Let's just go through just a couple of different areas. Let's talk about profitability and cash flow. What would be like one thing that had the biggest impact for one or both of those?
Change orders.
Yep.
I don't know how many years I would just be on site or my guys, oh yeah, sure, we'll do this. And, going through it now, it's like tens of thousands of dollars that we had just see you later, gone. And now we have a process for it. There's change order sheets. We're going to, log in the computer, do the change order right there.
Yep, totally.
Once we receive the payment, then the change order happens. So, yeah, I mean, I would say change orders is probably the biggest impact.
Beautiful. Now, how about, when we look at from your time perspective or team perspective, what would be, again, one thing that jumps off the page that was like, man, for 19 years, I didn't even realize we weren't doing this right or applying this? What is anything pop into mind?
Just knowing the numbers, knowing what to charge an hour. I mean, for the guys, for so long, it was just guessing. Oh, well, that's going to take that long, and I guess I should charge, $50 an hour for him. Not even knowing, but now I'm so confident in the number that I can just, I just look at my spreadsheet.
Well, there's no more guessing, right?
Well, it's not a guess.
Right. Totally. And then let's say on the marketing and sales side, like what's one of the biggest game changers that you applied working with PFC on that front?
Just the power of social media, the marketing side of that, the Google, just simple as that. Simple. Right. It's so simple. It's free. And just being on the customers, delivering a 5-star review every time.
Bingo. Everybody listen in on this, okay? Like when you look at you being a champion CEO, the fact that you're able to take a step back nowadays and be able to know, not guess, know that these things that you've implemented have had a massive impact. And I know there's hundreds of things that you guys implemented while you're here, okay? But we're not into talking for 18 hours here. But knowing your numbers, right? Like how well did you know your numbers before you came here?
I didn't know them at all. I mean, it was an educated guess, maybe at best.
Yep. Now, there's a lot of people listening in on this, and when we say know your numbers, we're talking about getting a grip on your financials, okay, and aspects of those financials along the lines of how to back costs and price profitably. But when I'm saying this, a lot of times people they're either driving in their truck right now going, oh, fuck, I don't even want to look at that. They're overwhelmed. They don't think they can learn it. What would you say to somebody that's like, man, I don't know if I can learn this stuff? What would you say?
I can do it. You can do it. Yeah, I mean, so for so many years, you felt like if you weren't putting in the nail or picking up material or whatever it might be, that you weren't doing anything, you weren't working, you weren't, you know what I mean? You weren't doing anything to help the business. But in reality, all you're doing is hurting the business. The biggest thing you can do is know your numbers and know how to estimate properly. And if you can do that, and you can look back at each job, make sure it's look at your estimate, make sure it's priced properly. And if there's something that's not included in the estimate, don't do the work until you get that change order. So
huge. Absolutely huge. So I want to just be clear with everybody. When people come to Profit for Contractors, there's different levels in the contractor's ladder of success. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, Adam. Okay, I'm not going to get into great detail right now, but the point I'm trying to make, guys, is, if I look at becoming a tradesperson, okay, when I went through trade school, not everybody went through trade school, but I'm just using it as an example. When I went through trade school, what I learned as a first-term, electrician, as an apprentice, is very different than what I learned at fifth. Okay, same as first was what I learned in second year was different than what I learned in first, and each one of those levels piggybacked off the previous level. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because one of the things that you want to get is the basics, the basic understanding of the financials. And I'm telling you guys, any one of you can learn this stuff. Okay. And it's just one level at a time. Okay. I mean, Adam, you learned. Yeah, that's right. Small chunks, right? But in a order, right? There's an order, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a recipe, right?
What?
Okay. Why is the order so important?
You can't work backwards. I mean, small chunks, know your numbers, or get to know your numbers, small chunks, and just work each step at a time. I mean, start with the estimating, make sure your estimating's clean, and then go through each job and make sure your job costing, because that's where you really find out.
Yep.
What are lost. You
got it. Yep. So look at, guys, there's a recipe for it. There's an order you got to go through. Here's my last little question, and we start wrapping up, is this. How has you doing the things that you've done to take the business where it's at, how has that impacted your ability to find, attract, hire, and retain top talent?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. I have one guy that's been with me for, I think it's going on 13 years, and
Wow.
he's been through. He's seen it all. He's my best friend. He's fantastic. I owe him the world, and I hope to give it to him one day, and I will. But we just hired a new lead a few weeks ago, and he came in, and we gave him the whole introduction, and walked him through our processes and stuff like that. And after the first week, he's
Wait a second, Adam. You mean you have a hiring process?
yes, absolutely. Yep, that's another one of our systems. But so when he came on, he's like, man, nobody's yelling at me, nobody's screaming at me, just swearing at me, and man, you don't have any guys that they're swearing on the job or screaming at. There's no hammers or 2x4s flying. There's nobody's smoking, nobody's it's just great community. It's a great team, and people see that. They see it on social media. They see it in our trucks driving around. They're all lettered up, and it just shows.
That's amazing, man. Look at your mission statement. If I look at where you were, you had hardly any systems, hardly any order to things. Order was basically whatever was in your head. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? The system was Adam, right? Without Adam, we were like that, and that's where Adam's like, okay, I got to be the system for this and this and this, and then the hours would tick, 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 tick. Am I on point here?
Yep.
Okay. Now you've gotten things out of your head in an orderly way. You followed a process. You've moved up the contractor's ladder of success. You're experiencing stability and beyond, and you're able to benefit from it. So is your team. All right. It's changed the environment. You actually putting in all those hours, being all stressed out, probably turned people away if I'm wrong. All right.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, whether you realize it or not, I mean, people can feel it. You can sense it.
Totally. Yeah. So, as we wrap this up, what would be, somebody's listening in, they're in the same situation as you. They've been working so hard, not making what they should be making, and they're putting in more time. It's a busy time of the year, and they go, you know what, this podcast really resonated with me, and I want that, but man, I'm too busy right now. I don't have time. I don't have time to raise my hand and get help. And by the way, when I say that, guys, it's not a pitch. If you get help by somebody else, get help by someone, get help by us, but you got to get help. And I think one of the biggest things these contractors will say is, I don't have time right now. I'll wait when I have more time. What would you say?
Try not to wait until you hit rock bottom. I mean, that's what it took for me. But, get help, ask for help, whether it's you guys or somebody else. But, and bring people, I was nervous about bringing people on board. My estimator and my sales guy, David, this is what he does. He's a professional. You know what I mean? He kills it. He does in 8 hours what it would take me, 10 hours at night doing.
Right.
Or it would take me longer. Get people in place that, that are professionals at it.
Yep. Yeah. At the same token, you had to put on the hat of being the champion CEO. You can't bring on talented people if you haven't created an environment for talented people to actually bring their talent.
Right. You got to bring in so they can.
Right. If you don't have a freaking progress to profit board, if everything's in your head, I'm serious. If I go back in time and you had all this shit in your head and you went and had those exact same people and you brought them in, I guarantee you one of two things would happen. They would have quit because they wouldn't have gotten what they needed for their talent to be showing. Or two, which is really sad, they would have stepped their talent down to adjust to the chaos and just go, yeah, man, whatever, right? Because, A players, they will not stick around, okay? They just won't, okay? But you create an environment. Look at the environment you have now, dude. It's a game changer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome.
It brings a smile to my face every day I come up here.
It's awesome. Okay, so somebody says they don't have the time, you'd say what?
You got to make the time. And I was the the typical contractor because I trust was a big thing. I wanted to do it all myself. I can't trust it. I can do it better. You got to let go of that because you can't do everything. And, especially well, you can't, you know what I mean? So I had a hard time trusting people and letting go of certain things because I could do it better. And I thought I had the time and it nearly ruined me. So,
So, I guess my little wrap up to this is 19 years. That's my wrap up. Guys, you're listening in. Adam is now on the other side. Okay? 2 years and complete game changer to his business. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but it didn't take 2 years for you to start benefiting. You started benefiting like within the first...
almost immediately.
Right. Okay.
Once you started just taking small little chunks at a time.
That's right. In an orderly way. All right. Following the recipe. Okay. So
you got to do the work.
Absolutely. But guess what? Those 19 years you were doing the fucking work. You were doing 90, 100 hours, dude.
Yep.
Right? Like the time that you put in to do the work actually gave you back more time than what you put in.
Oh, yeah.
No, I want everybody to understand this. Like, wrapping this up. Somebody might go, I don't have 2 hours. I don't have 5 hours. It's like, well, just a second. Wait a second. If you put in 2 and I gave you back 4, would you do that again? People go, I never thought about that, but I don't have 2 hours. I'm like, you're not hearing me. You put 2 and the next week you got 4. Would you do that again? They go, yeah. Then fucking take the time to raise your hand, get help so you can put in the 2, get the 4, get the 8, get the 10, get the trailer, get the freaking Fridays off. Am I right?
100%.
Okay. But you got to take that step. You got to take that step. What do you think is the biggest thing that holds owners of contracting companies back from raising their hand for help? Is it the trust thing?
I think so. I mean, just because that's what it was for me. And I think it was, my father growing up too. Who can do it better than me? Nobody. I'm going to do everything. But it's just, if you want to grow a business and, have a great community around you of people, when you want to pay them well so they can provide for their families, you got to create the systems so you can make the money and the profits to support them.
I love it, dude. I love it. Listen, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you, for your wife, for your son, for your team. It's been a great journey, and I just love seeing great people like you. That's why this business was created. It was to help really good people have a great life. Guys, don't do the 19 years. Don't do another year. Don't do another month. Get the help that you need. Do things differently. Okay. No different than you're really good at your trade and shit that and I don't know it, even though I'm a tradie. Okay. Like, learn the things you got to learn, but get the help that you need. You can't do it all yourself. You can't expect yourself to just magically know it. Putting in more time is not going to solve the problem. Awesome. Okay, Adam. Thanks, brother. Have a great day, man. We'll talk to you soon, bro.
Hey, Rockstars. Thank you for watching the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. And if you're serious about growing and need help, click on the link below. Myself and my team would love to help and give you the necessary tools so you can take your contracting business to the next level. And remember, dominate, delegate, and deliver.